Hi, my name's Michael Randazzo. I'm in my master's here at the University of Ottawa in the Department of Human Kinetics. The World Health Organization defines food security as all people at all times having economic and physical access to nutritious food that supports an active and healthy lifestyle. Safe and nutritious food. My research was conducted in 2 rural and remote First Nations communities. One of them was called Kitkatla, which is an island community in the northwest coast of BC, almost closer to Alaska than it is to anywhere else. The community is an island, like I said. You can't drive there, you have to fly or ferry. They speak Smalek. There's about 300 people that live there. The issue what they have with food security is that because there are no in-community stores, they have to ship all food in on this ferry or on the plane. The ferry only comes once a week, and most community members only go into the ferry every 2 weeks. When they get paid, they go grocery shopping, they ship it back. Shipping it back costs a lot of money because now you have to pay for the freight. So let's say you're living in a family of 8, you have 8 boxes of food, about $600, and now you're paying about $5 to $10 per box. So it makes life quite difficult. And the second community I worked in was uOttawa, which is in the northwest Ontario. It's about 600 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. Again, there's no road, so you have to fly in there. In the winter months, they do install a winter road that happens at the coldest times. The only problem is in the year like this year, the road was only up for 2 weeks and only allowed to be used at night. So it becomes quite difficult, again, to get access to food. They do have a community store. The community store has very little produce, very little variety, and very expensive. My methods used were ethnographic. I lived in both of these communities. I spent 10 weeks in Kitkatla, and I spent 3 weeks in uOttawa, and I'm going back up in May for another 5. So in the last 12 months, I've spent about 4 months working in communities. Now, implications are that these communities do hunt and fish, and it does make up a part of their diet, but not a lot. And we're trying to figure out ways that they can increase this diet of land-based foods. In the West Coast, they created a garden, and the garden actually did quite well because it's a milder temperament. It grew broccoli, cabbage, spinach, a bunch of different nice vegetables, and they did so well that they secured funding for an industrial-sized greenhouse to be implemented into the community. In uOttawa, it's a little bit harder because it's a little bit colder. In the winter months, like you can see, it's just snow, and they have to hunt and trap mostly for game. So we're trying to figure out ways to sustain hunting and fishing in modern-day society because they really do need different ways of accessing food besides these stores. Thank you. Any questions?
Do you think that the role of a state in securing access to food is positive or negative? The state should do something to secure this right, or should not do anything and let them hunt and do what they have been traditionally doing to have access to food?
Well, I believe the states should support community-based initiatives. In the past, the state has intervened and stopped them from hunting and fishing. And another issue with sustaining hunting and fishing is that they're not traditionally allowed to sell game. Like, we're not allowed to sell wild game as Canadians. So the state has put sanctions on these things that makes it more difficult for them to survive just hunting and fishing. As well as things change, and like in the 70s, they were overhunting because everyone was living off the land mostly. And now the game got very scarce, but now that there's been about 30 years of not hunting as predominantly, there's more game, so yeah.
In terms of the greenhouse in British Columbia,
Mm-hmm.
of curiosity, will it run year-round?
I believe they're trying to make it run year-round. The climate is never really gets super cold or super hot. It's really just between like 4 and 20 degrees the whole year. I think they got 1 snow this whole year this winter. So they're going to try to have it run year-round. Yeah, that's the plan.
Will they be, I guess they'll have to use a bit of power during the winter.
Yeah, they have hydro there in the community. Hydro can get interrupted because they have to put the towers all the way through the water. So sometimes they'll go like 1 or 2 weeks without power, but usually they have power full time. It's actually uOttawa is running mostly on fuel, like diesel fuel for heat and wood stoves still, but that's in a different community. Thank you.